A friend of mine runs a venture capital fund. If you don't know what that means, those are the guys who invest in startups. Most of them follow the herd. 90% bet on the same things at the same time for the same reasons. He is one of the few who doesn't. And a few months ago, he sent me a thesis that most of the people in the industry think is wrong. The thesis says this: the population isn't growing, it's shrinking. The world we built, its economies, its infrastructures, its business models, is designed and narrated for an expanding population. But in reality, that population is contracting much faster than any projection ever predicted. To give you some numbers, Italy's fertility rate is 1.13, South Korea is 0.75, China 0.9. You need 2.1 to keep the population stable. And we have been below that for decades in almost every developing market. I know, you're probably thinking, who gives a shit? What does this have to do with music? But no, bear with me, trust me for a second. When I read it, my first reaction was, incredible, there's nobody's talking about it. The second was, wait, something like this, it's a lot of industry really hard. And definitely music industry as well. And I stopped there because what he was describing, a world built for growth that is actually contracting, I was seeing every day building Fankee. But I just haven't found the word for it yet. But the music industry is not in crisis. I'll say it up front because if I say music is suffering, you probably think of Spotify, low royalty, artists not making enough money. Yes, sure, all that is true. But those are symptoms, not the diagnosis. The diagnosis is more precise, and it has a name: compression. Yes, compression. The crisis shrinks the market. Compression does something more subtle. It shifts value. It squeezes it from one place and concentrates it somewhere else. And the music industry in 2025 had its best year ever. Global revenues are almost 32 billion, up 6.4%. 83 million pay subscribers on streaming platforms. Live revenues surpassing pre-pandemic levels by 38%. The money is there. It's never been this much. And yet, platforms get buried every single day under tracks, mostly generated by AI, bots, automated tools. And in all of this, only 22,000 artists in the world earn more than $50,000 a year on Spotify. Just 22,000. In the whole world. This is the compression paradox. The market grows, value concentrates more and more at the top, and the artist middle class disappears. So when I try to understand why this was happening, I found 6 forces all moving at the same time. They are not separated problems. They amplify each other. Number 1, fewer young people. Yes, exactly. Fewer early adopters, fewer spontaneous scenes, less cultural energy. Number 2, AI is flooding platforms with content. Supply has become infinite, and the value of each track trends towards 0. 3, organic discovery is dead. TikTok doesn't work the way it used to. 4, the supply chain is hollowing out. The professionals who used to develop artists are disappearing. 5, nobody discovers music in generalistic feeds anymore. It happens in groups, micro-scenes, in private word of mouth. Number 6, last but not least, the industry keeps operating as if it's 2015. Now, I walk you through each one because together they form something really precise. So back to number 1, when the population shrinks in Europe, 15-24 age group has lost 30% in the last decade. You see something really specific in music. Young people are not just listeners. They are the engine of discovery. They are the ones who find artists before anyone else, who build collective identities around the song, who create that social energy that turns a track into a cultural phenomenon. Therefore, fewer young people means fewer spontaneous microscenes, less word of mouth, less push from below. Over 200,000 tracks get uploaded every single day across streaming platforms. 44% of those on Deezer alone are AI generated. Spotify itself has already removed 75 million tracks considered spam. When supply becomes infinite, the value of every single piece of music trends towards zero. It's a cultural inflation, the same top water logic I talked about in my previous video. Except now, we are talking about the entire ecosystem. The TikTok model is structurally slowing down. Organic reach has dropped 25 to 30% year on year. Average engagement has nearly halved, from 5.7% to 2.6%. The platform today rewards established creators, already validated content. So, the channel that was supposed to democratize music discovery has turned into another system that rewards who has already big. And the music industry, it doesn't know yet. Keeps throwing budget at social campaign as if it's like 2020. Force number 6 isn't a market problem. It's a response to the market problem. It's the most expensive misalignment I see every single day. Music doesn't run on artists alone. It depends on invisible infrastructure of promoters, technicians, venue managers, organizers. This fabric is crumbling. And get this, the majors are buying catalogs and laying off people, making more and cutting jobs. Go figure. UK Music reports a 26% decline in the music workforce since 2017. Tour costs are up 35%. Lots of small and medium-sized venues have closed. So, if you are an emerging artist, the infrastructure that would have helped you grow is less and less available. Gen Z doesn't discover music in public feed anymore. They move to Discord, WhatsApp, gaming platform, semi-closed groups. Discovery becomes vertical, not a global wave, but dense, high-identity-driven microscenes, hard to reach with traditional methods. For an artist or a venue, that means you can't wait for the algorithm to find you anymore. You have to get into the right scenes, or build them. But there is one thing that pisses me off more than anything. In 2025 alone, Suno, it's 7 million AI-generated tracks every day. Every 2 weeks, it generates and produces more music than Spotify has ever accumulated in many, many years. And how much do they spend to train the model? Well, roughly was like 32 million in infrastructure. And I cannot even mention how much in licensed music. Decades of work by musicians absorbed as data with zero redistribution. The narrative is always the same: democratization. But the reality is the classic tech playbook. Grow faster than the system can regulate you, become unavoidable before the rules apply. AI multiply works, but not cultural phenomena. It can create tracks, but not scenes. But here's the part the industry hasn't figured it out yet. The market is growing. The value is there. The problem is, it's not being captured by the people who generated it. And this is differently for each of you. If you are the artist, you can't wait for the algorithm anymore. It's the network of relationship, not the content itself, that grow an artist today. If you run a venue, the live crisis isn't cyclical. It's structural. The distinction isn't between a full or an empty event anymore. It's between venues that activate a real audience and those waiting for a generic public that no longer exists. If you are a label, the invest, push, scale model conflict with saturated feeds and disappear fan bases. And the clearest proof of all this is in one number. Superfans, 3% of the global audience, but 15% of all music spending. Engagement 6 times higher than casual fans. In gaming, they are called waves and they sustain the entire ecosystem. Fortnite is free. Epic Games made billions from cosmetic skins, for example. But why? Because when someone truly identifies with something, they don't need to be tough into spending anymore. Music has exactly the same pattern. It just never capitalized on it. Those superfans exist on Discord, WhatsApp, TikTok, in local collectives. But nobody has the tools to find them, activate them, coordinate them. The system generates value everywhere. It captures it nowhere. When I understood this, I understood what was missing. Streaming platform, for example. The industry already has to manage. The problem isn't a lack of platforms or surfaces. It's that there is no layer underneath. No infrastructure. Just think about it for a second. The electrical grid doesn't produce energy on its own. It collects it, moves it, distributes it to whoever needs it, right? Without it, every generators run into isolation. The music industry today is full of generators. Artists, venue, festival, communities, collectives, producing value every single day, but not connected to each other. Everyone operating on their own. What is missing is the layer, a layer that sits on top of what already exists, on top of social platform, on top of streaming, on top of scenes that recognizes who is actually pushing an artist's music, who fills a room, who builds real attention. And that turns participation finally into something measurable, recognizable, concretely valuable, because a layer doesn't change the artist's life, but it changes the entire value chain. The artist finally understands who the fans that actually matters are, not followers, but active fans. The venues stop programming into the void and builds a relationship that lasts beyond the weekend. The festival has the tools to identify microscene before they go mainstream. And the fans, for the very first time, get recognized for what they do, not just what they consume. And that layer becomes necessary now, not in 5 years, because it's built on the shift we have just described. Demographic contraction, the AI explosion, the death of organic discovery, and closed microscenes. And these are not future trends, they are already reality. And most of the industry hasn't seen that yet. So, whoever builds infrastructure on the new rule, while everyone else is still running on the old ones, doesn't create a competitive advantage. They create a new category. So back to the thesis of my friend, he said we are building for a world that no longer exists. Music is already finding that out. And whoever understands this now, before anyone else, doesn't just have an advantage. They have the time to build something that lasts.